Hi, I'm Richard with the Data Success Team. In this video, I want to introduce you to the AI-supported documentation feature that's been introduced into Dataedo version 23.2. This feature is available in the web portal only, and it's configured and run. Everything happens right in the web portal. So to set this up, a person who has administrator privileges in web portal will go to Settings and choose System Settings. Then right here, they'll go to the LLM engines, click that, and this is where you manage these models and engines that come from OpenAI ChatGPT. You use your own account with OpenAI. You will get your API key there, bring it over here to set up these engines. To do that, you click on Add, and it gives you this configuration. You will choose which model you want to use. For example, this 3.5 Turbo. Give it a unique name that is meaningful to you. I'm just going to come up with something here. Right there, my new engine. Make this recognizable so you'll be able to identify these and differentiate between these if you have several as you're using them in the portal. Next, you're going to enter the API key that you got from your account. And below that, you have settings here to adjust how the engine works. The important one here is temperature. This defaults to 1 for this particular model. It is a range from 0 to 2, and a lower number tells you that the definition returned from OpenAI will be more focused, more deterministic. A higher number tells you that it's going to be less deterministic. As I tested these, I found that a 0.5 temperature gave a pretty good balance, but you should experiment with them and find the temperature that you like for your particular needs. I did find in my testing that a temperature of 1.8, 1.9 basically returned garbage. But as I say, I did find that 0.5 was a pretty good balance. And when you have those things set, you choose Add. You can see it was successful. And right there, we see my new engine in the bottom of the list. You can edit these. Just open that panel again, and you can change values. So, for example, if I wanted to change this to 1,000 tokens, I can do that and then save it again. You also have the ability, when needed, to go ahead and delete this engine if you don't need it anymore. So I will delete this one because I've already set them up. You can see I've got my 3 main engines right there. The next obvious question is who can perform AI generation of documentation? The answer to that is in user management. We go to roles. We find that admins have that permission and data stewards have that permission. Those are the only roles that have permission to use the AI generation function. All other roles are blocked from that permission. Now, where is this available? What objects can it be used on? First off, it can be used for table objects and all of their columns. You can see right there is the button that you would use to generate this for this table and all of its columns. If we go to the columns, there is a button there as well to generate that. It is also available for views. Here we have a view object. There we see it's available. And again, for the columns right there. It does generate tables and columns all in one pass, and a view and its columns all in one pass. You don't have to run them separately. In fact, you can't run them separately. If you generate it from here, it will also generate for the view. The next place it's available is in Glossary. It is available for Glossary where the type is term. It is also available in the Glossary where the type is KPI. It is not available for the other Glossary entity types like policy, rule, and any of those that you created on your own. Only for Glossary terms, Glossary KPIs, views and their columns, and tables and their columns. Next up, how do you see this? Notice that we are in viewer mode here. We are in viewer mode, and these are available. If you click to editing, this is interesting, then it will no longer be available for the overview tab for your tables and your views and your glossary terms, but it is available for the columns. A little bit of a discrepancy there. To keep things straight, just stay in viewer mode, and as long as you are in the editor group that has permission to do this, you will have this available and you can access it. The next question is, how do you run this? So I'm going to go through an example. Here we have a view object that has not been generated yet. So what we do is we find that box, we choose the engine that we want. There's our engine, and we click on the box right there. I've already run this over here, so let me jump over and show you what that looks like. Here it shows all of the descriptions have been generated. We have the view object right there, and we have all of the columns within that view object. They've all been generated. It does show us what is the description. This is the description column, the definition column that we all know and love. And here is the AI generated description. At this point, you do have several options, and they have to do with what do you want done with this description that was just created. Of course, your first option is you can save it. You can save it to description, replace anything that's already there, and it's just there. It's done. Next option is you could save it to a separate field that will retain your original description and save this one to another field so you can use them to compare. The AI description then becomes a reference as you work with writing your normal description. Another option is you can edit these. So for example, if I want to edit this description, I click on the edit icon, and I could come in here and say, I don't want this sentence right there about whether or not this column can be nulled. So I can delete that, and now I have that edit. It's permanent. I can choose to edit any or all of these. When I'm satisfied, I come down to the bottom and I select all. Or I could select just part of them. For example, here I'm selecting all of the columns, but not the view object itself. But let's go ahead and select all of them there. And then we click the button that is appropriate for what we want to do. Of course, we can also discard this entirely if we decide we don't want to save anything. I am going to save to the AI description. And there it is. You can see the new description generated right there as a separate field for this view object. There's the original description above it. Here is the new one. And notice we can regenerate this if we wanted. We could run this again, have another attempt at that AI description. If I go to the columns, you can see all of those AI descriptions are right there, identified with the ChatGPT icon right there. If we want to see those in more detail, of course, we can open the column right there and we see the entire thing as it is. What this looks like in the case where you already have other descriptions, like for this table object, my columns already have descriptions. Notice the AI description is not showing there, but I can show it either one at a time by clicking the icon, and there is the AI description, or I can click this button up here at the top and show all of them at once. But again, we can go into that and see the whole thing right there. Another thing to know here is that you can delete these. If you decide for some reason you don't want them anymore, you can come right here, for example, on this column, and we can choose delete. Right there, it is gone. And we could go back, we can do the table right there. So you can delete these as needed. It does not delete all of them at once. So if you need to delete the columns and the description for the parent object, the table or the view, you would have to do those individually. You notice I did delete the description for the table here. If I go to the columns, you can see they are still there. So I would have to delete each one of these individually. So that is really how the AI supported documentation feature works. It's pretty slick. It's going to allow you more flexibility or more insight into your data as you work through and work on your data dictionary. Gives you more knowledge, which is what we all want in our data catalog. If you have questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to us at success@dataedo.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for using Dataedo.